Alright, what's up y'all? I'd like to get straight to the point in these videos, but I got something to say first. So I know I said I'd be doing rants or something like that, but there's too much going on in the world not to talk about current events. So expect some of that in the future. Okay, so recently I've seen an uprising of poor driving. Keep in mind this is coming from a 16-year-old. I'm still considered a new driver. Technically, I've been driving since I was 14, but I couldn't really legally do it by myself at least until about a year ago. I'm an excellent driver too. If you ask anyone I know, they'll confirm it. I don't find driving particularly hard, I never did, but the number one thing you gotta focus on when you're out on the road is the other drivers, especially the bots on the road. It's probably one of the first things I learned when my mom told me, not only are you driving for yourself, but you're driving for all the other idiots and non-drivers on the road. Everyone will need to know the definition of non-driver because this certainly, and I mean certainly, won't be the only time I mention it. My favorite dictionary, my preferred choice for essays, and much more, the Urban Dictionary, says a non-driver is a driver who is scared of the road and or should not have passed the driver's test. Examples: scared to take a turn, driving below speed limit, driving wrong way on one way, swerving in and out of lane. So that's basically what I mean. Anyone who basically doesn't know how to drive and shouldn't be on the road. The example that was originally included with that definition was kind of trash, so I'm not going to be showing that. Personally, I would have added a few things onto this definition, such as texting and driving, driving too slow in the fast lane, braking for no reason. You know what I'm saying? Basically anything that makes you want to buy a semi and slam it into the other person's car. So since I'm a new driver and all, when I see these things happening in front of my own eyes, I'm bewildered. How can someone be driving for years and years, sometimes decades, and still make simple mistakes regularly? We all have that one friend that tries something, dedicates so much time to it, and still ends up falling short and being terrible. That's what I think of when I see a 30-year-old doing any of the things I listed above. You know, you've been driving to work for the past 5 years probably, and it's still not common nature to use your turn signals when turning. Of course, we aren't perfect, we're humans. I make mistakes all the time. The other day, I almost dropped my phone in that volcano, but all it takes is one mistake when you're driving and you're done. You can't be distracted when you're on the road. I've never gotten in an accident, but if I ever do, it's probably not going to be my fault, probably going to be a non-driver's fault. There's a particular place where I see idiots completely lose their driving skills. It's called the Roundabout. Personally, I think they should have stayed in Europe. Every single roundabout in America can be replaced with a normal intersection probably. And the fact is people are just more comfortable with that. You don't really see accidents happening as much at a four-way stop intersection because it's a very simple concept. And if you don't understand that, then you shouldn't be on the road. It's as simple as that. Same with traffic light intersections. Roundabouts are pretty simple too though, but because of non-drivers, having to travel through them is very problematic. Here's a picture of one I have to frequently travel through. This one is slightly more complicated than the average roundabout since it has 2 lanes and then 1 lane around the circle, but it's really not that bad if you think about it. And you really actually don't have to think about it, but people completely lose their driving skills when they get on it. I guess people see snow on the ground or something because they all drive extremely slow and have no sense of where the lane lines are. Just the other day, I was driving to work and this imbecile almost hit me. I added some arrows and numbers to show exactly what I mean. So if you're coming from the lane of the white car, which is circled in red, or the lane to the left of it, you can stay on the street, option number 1, or go on the highway, option number 2. But no matter what you were doing, you were supposed to stay in the correct lane. So if you were getting on the highway, you know, where it says west in all uppercase letters and has a turning arrow, which I both underline purple, you follow the path of the blue arrow. And if you're going on the street, you follow the path of the red arrow. Actually, it wouldn't be a terrible idea if they drew these arrows on the roundabout. It'd probably decrease accidents. Okay, anyways, I was heading to work the other day and I need to go on the highway. So I was following the path of the blue line and the car in front of me was going relatively the same way. But instead of crossing the correct dash lines, the driver took a left and was in the same lane as that gray car up there. So at this point I was forced to brake because I knew they were probably going to go on the highway, and if I kept going at the normal speed, they would have turned into my car or cut me off when I was entering the highway. You know, I'm not trying to get in no accidents. Insurance is already expensive enough, and if I have to slow down to prevent an accident, even when it wouldn't be my fault, it is what it is. And now that I think about it, that's actually pretty stupid. Why should my insurance price go up because someone else hit me? It makes no sense at all. Imagine getting called to your school's office to change your schedule, and you're just sitting in a chair chilling, not doing anything to anyone or anything, not even remotely. All of a sudden, someone walks up to you and punches you right in the nose. Before you can even collect yourself to realize what happened, the principals already have the aggressor restrained. But since you were involved, you should get ISS, right? It doesn't matter that you were just sitting in a chair, not doing anything wrong. You should have been able to see what could have happened. That's the insurance company mindset. We're going to raise your price because every accident you've been in was brought upon yourself, right? So back to the other day. I slowed down, and just as I thought they would, they crossed the solid white line and entered the highway. Now, I don't have road rage, but when stuff like this happens to me, all I can visualize is seeing their car plowed off the road like snow by a semi. And it's perfectly fine to think about it. It's not like I've done it yet, so it's all good. When it comes to anything in life, there are unwritten rules that everyone should follow to maintain a certain level of respect and common courtesy. Whenever someone doesn't, they just look like a scumbag. Sports are probably the best analogy for this. Generally, you shouldn't do things like running up the score. If it's clear you or your team has won, no need to continue playing as fiercely. Don't taunt the other team on a home run in baseball. Common sense things like that. When it comes to drivers, some people don't share this mindset. They just do whatever they want and disregard how they should treat other drivers. A prime example of this is not using your turn signal. Now, this happens to me very frequently, and when I was new to driving, I simply thought, oh, they must have forgotten. Everyone makes mistakes, but nowadays, when someone does it, it always seems that they are going the same way as me, or they do it multiple times in a row. A few months ago, I was coming home from work and a vehicle in front of me started randomly braking. I could see around the car and there was nothing at all in front of it. Now, I'm a pretty busy person. I hate wasting time because it's one of the only things I can't get a refund for. So when I see someone in front of me braking for no reason, I go from being confused to annoyed and to angry if it persists long enough. Keep in mind though that I don't have road rage. So they failed to signal when they turned right, and of course, like always, I was heading the same direction. Of course, they were going too slow, probably 10 under when the speed limit was 25. It's not a school zone, there's no kids, it's nighttime, school's not in session. People like that need to take their vehicles to the junkyard or simply drive it in a lake. I don't really care what they do, but they need a bicycle until they're comfortable on the road. There's no reason to be going that slow in a subdivision. Unless you're trying to find where something is, but they obviously were turning into their driveway. Then they failed to signal on a left turn again, and then they failed to signal when turning into their driveway. If you're listening to this and you drive or plan on doing so in the future, please don't be like this. If you don't know what you're doing and you're not in a parking lot or something, pull over to the side of the road and let people pass you if you're holding up traffic. We're all in this together. We all pay for these roads, well, if you drive at least, so we should all be able to use them as efficiently as possible. Of course, you don't have to listen to me, but eventually you'll meet someone with road rage that will put your life in danger. So just stay safe and do the right thing. The last unwritten rule I want to talk about relates to the highway. Personally, I love driving on the highway. I take it over the street any day. It's faster, there's more space, and it's just better in general. Now, another thing I learned is to read the highway, kind of like reading the room, but on the highway. If you notice traffic is traveling a little more quickly than usual, maybe consider slightly speeding up or staying in the right-hand lane. If you're driving in the fast lane and see a vehicle quickly approaching, consider moving to the right. Also say consider speeding up, but this one is dangerous because of law enforcement. If you're driving in the right-hand lane and consistently being passed, consider exiting the highway at the next exit and taking the street or an outer road if available. And I lied. Lastly, why in the world do you need a 70% to pass the driver's test? I understand that 70% is a passing grade in school, but to barely pass a test at school is completely different than barely passing the driver's test. When you're on the road, it isn't only about you. You literally have the ability to kill another human being while you're driving a car. I know most everyone is nervous on their driver's exam and they are prone to make silly mistakes, but there shouldn't be a 30% margin for error. Tests aren't always an accurate way of seeing growth, but if you followed 70% of the rules on the road and didn't follow 30% of the rules, in reality, you'd be at a high chance of wrecking your car eventually. I mean, as you drive more and more, you'd get better supposedly, but all I know is that if someone is driving me around and it's their fault we get in an accident, say goodbye, we're fighting. I take my life too seriously to have my limbs broken or to be in pain from something like a silly car accident. So yeah, they may as well just raise the passing rate up to 80%. And it's the same as the permit test. It doesn't really need to be lower, but that's it really. Make sure to leave a like if you enjoyed and comment down below what you think. Hit that sub button if you're new. Don't forget to hit the bell and put it on all so you'll never miss an upload. Follow my Twitter where I announce uploads as sub2Flagrot, link in the description. And until next time, I hope everyone has a wonderful day. Flagrot out.